All right, so welcome back to the channel. This is the Week 9 Power Rankings. I do apologize for my couple of week absence there. I had some scheduling errors, and also I am getting over being a little sick, so if my voice is a little, hoarse in this video, just kind of bear with me here. But we're just going to get into the rankings now. And at number 10, we have the New York Giants. They're off a bye this past week, so last time we saw them play, they did lose to the Seahawks in Seattle 27-13. So I'm still keeping them in the top 10. I think that they've played well above their personnel. I think they're one of the best coached teams in the league, and I still think Brian Daboll is on pace to win Coach of the Year this year. Saquon's having a great year as well. He's I think the shoe-in to win Comeback Player of the Year, and I also think he's in that Offensive Player of the Year race. So the Giants, I know that they lost last time we saw them play, but they've been playing really well so far, so they stay in the top 10. And at number 9, we have the Seattle Seahawks, one of the most surprising teams this year. When I did my preseason predictions for the playoffs for the NFC West, I had all those teams making the playoffs except for Seattle. And it's kind of crazy now that this far into the season, the only team above 500 in that division is the Seattle Seahawks. They're leading that division. I think Pete Carroll, similar, we just talked about Brian Daboll. I think Pete Carroll is probably number 2 in that Coach of the Year race just because of the expectations for Seattle. Before the year, they looked like they were going into a rebuild. They just traded away their franchise quarterback, and now the guy that they have that replaced him, Geno Smith, is playing better than Russell Wilson this season. They hit a home run this past draft. They have 3 really good players that they got in that draft. The corner, Christian Cross, their O-lineman, and then Kenneth Walker is the highest odds to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. The running back has been phenomenal. And, of course, they have a great receiving core. So this is a really, really fun story with Seattle, just to see that their expectations going into this year versus how they've performed thus far. And at number 8, we have the Baltimore Ravens. They're fresh off of beating the New Orleans Saints last night, 27-13. I think that they've kind of pulled away as, at least for me, the favorite to win the NFC North. I was saying for a while that it was like a two-way race between the Ravens and the Bengals are certainly still in that race, but I think the Ravens, especially after the Roquan Smith trade, they've really started to pull away in that race. And, I still, Lamar Jackson still just continues to amaze me how he plays so well with the lack of elite weapons around him. Rashad Bateman gets hurt. It doesn't matter. He's still able to play at an elite level with, unknown names. Outside of Mark Andrews, he has a very thin receiving core. And like I said, Roquan added to this defense is going to make it, spectacular. It was already a really good defense, but adding a superstar like him, a really good trade for them. So they're at 8. And at number 7, we have the Miami Dolphins. They're 6-3, and they're fresh off beating the Bears in a shootout, 35-32. This offense continues to be one of the best in the NFL. They have 2 players in the top 3 for receiving yards, and Tyreek Hill is on pace to break Calvin Johnson's single season for receiving yards. I think he's kind of running away with the Offensive Player of the Year award. I was kind of arguing for a while that it was Saquon, but I think Tyreek Hill has pulled away with that. He already has 1,100-something yards through the first 9 weeks of the season. That's like a really good year for, 1,100 yards is like an elite year on its own. He's done that halfway through the season. That's just kind of insane. And Jalen Waddle, he's right behind Tyreek Hill there. And similar to the Ravens we just talked about, this team just made a big deadline move for a defensive star, Bradley Chubb. And I think Bradley Chubb provides the Dolphins exactly what they need. They need that elite pass rusher on their team because their defense, it's been serviceable but not great. But now they get like a superstar level guy like Bradley Chubb has been. In his rookie year, he had 12 sacks. He's never really been able to get back up to that level of production, but hopefully he's able to regather that here. Obviously, Miami feels that. They gave up a lot to get him, and I think he can certainly do that just with what Miami's building. I think Tua has really proved everyone wrong. Last year there were people saying that Tua was done, people saying that, Tua's, not going to work in the NFL. And he's been spectacular, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL, and making that Drew Brees comparison look pretty accurate thus far. So they stay at 7. You could argue they should be higher because when Tua plays, they're undefeated, 6-0. And at number 6, we have probably the biggest shocker of this year, the New York Jets being a good team. Staying in the AFC East, head-to-head, I think the Dolphins are better, but you know how the power rankings work. It's based on weekly performance, and the Jets just beat the Bills. We've had a lot of crazy upsets this year, like the Panthers beating the Buccaneers, and, some other crazy things happened, like the Steelers beating the Bengals week 1, stuff like that, but the Jets beating the Bills, I don't really think anyone predicted that to happen. I thought it was going to be a good game, but the fact that the Jets actually pulled it off is very impressive, and it shows that this team is legitimate. The fact that they beat what a lot of people consider to be the best team, at least if you go on any sports book, the Bills still have the best odds to win the Super Bowl. The Jets just beat that team. I still have my questions about Zach Wilson, but this defense is legit. Sauce Gardner is the runaway winner of the Defensive Rookie of the Year, without a doubt. This run game is really elite. I feel bad for Breece Hall because I really think Breece Hall has superstar written all over him. And but they've been able to make it work with Michael Carter. They just traded for, obviously, James Robinson from the Jags. So they run the hell out of the ball. They have a pretty good receiving core, pretty young, and they have a stellar defense. And I give Robert Saleh a lot of credit as well, because I was saying before the year started that I wasn't big on him, but he's really won me over with how good the Jets have played this year. And, I hope Breece Hall is the same player off this injury, because he was looking like a superstar in the making. So the Jets are here. And at number 5, we have the Dallas Cowboys. They're off a bye this past week, but last time we saw them, they smoked the Bears 49-29. Kind of a surprising game for the fact that Cowboys defense gave up that much to the limited Bears offense, but they did get the win. The offense almost put up 50 in that game, and all the concerns we talked about with Dak coming back and the offense potentially shifting to a different style, all that's gone. Dak has looked really good since coming back off the injury. The running back tandem has played really well. I still think they should give Pollard more touches, but I like the more balanced approach to their run game. And then, like I said, the defense among the best in the league. And I think right now Micah Parsons is the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think he has the best case just from the fact that the defense is so dominant, the fact that they're winning so many games. And, I think he came in like second or third last year, only in his rookie year, so we all knew he was eventually going to win one. So Dallas is at 5. At 4, we have the Buffalo Bills. This is the lowest the Bills have ever been on any of my power rankings, and we all know the reason why they're at 4, and that's because they lost to the Jets. This team has a limitation in the fact that they don't have a solid run game. They just traded for Nyheim Hines. Maybe he can turn things around there, but so far that's been kind of their biggest weakness. And there's a potential Josh Allen injury here. I saw a report last night that he's going to be evaluated for like some nerve damage, which does not sound good to me. Hopefully, if he does miss time, it's not a significant amount, because that would be just kind of a real detriment to the league. But like I said, they did lose to the Jets 20-17. I still think the Bills are one of the best teams in the league, obviously. It's just I had to knock them down for losing to the division rival, the young upstart Jets. But the Bills, they're still up there. Josh Allen, I still think, is the favorite to win MVP as long as this injury isn't anything serious. Earlier in the year, I said there were only 2 things that were going to stop Josh Allen from winning MVP. One was him getting injured, and 2 was if the Eagles go undefeated, Jalen Hurts would win it. So far the Eagles are still undefeated, and if this injury happens, that's obviously bad for his MVP argument. But they stay at 4 for now. Coming in at number 3, we have the Vikings. They're 7-1. Their only loss is to the undefeated Eagles. this team is really impressive because last year they were the team that they lost the most close games, and this year they're winning all those close games. I think a big reason for that is you've really seen this team shift from the defensive side to the offensive side, changing their head coaches around. This team is loaded in terms of weapons. They just got TJ Hawkinson, an elite tight end, to add to their already amazing collection of weapons with Jefferson and Thielen and Dalvin Cook. Kirk Cousins is having the best year of his career, and the defense is playing well above the personnel. The defense has actually looked really good so far, and they're 7-1. Like I said, they're the runaway winners of this division. One of the few things I actually got right in the predictions video was the Vikings winning the NFC North. It was really hard for me at the time to make that prediction because the Packers have dominated this division for so long. But I really thought the difference would be them finally getting an offensive head coach to go with these weapons. And so far, that's looked like it was the right decision, obviously. They're 7-1, so they're in the top 3. And at number 2, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. They just beat the Tennessee Titans on Sunday Night Football 20-17. Really not much to say about them. We all kind of know what they are. Mahomes, I was arguing for a good chunk of the year that he was the MVP over Josh Allen. I had to kind of concede that, but hey, if Josh Allen is going to miss some time, then I think that puts Mahomes back up at the number 1 spot. Again, as long as Philly doesn't go undefeated. Another thing about the Chiefs that have really surprised me this year is their defense has actually played pretty well, particularly with stopping the run. They've been really good at that. They have some young players on that defense, but it is definitely overachieved at this point. And with the uncertainty with Josh Allen right now, the Chiefs are probably the favorite in the AFC. So they are at 2. And at number 1, shocker, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. They're still the only undefeated team in the NFL at 8-0. And I said this a couple weeks ago, until they lose a game, there's really not much for me to say because I'm just going to be repeating myself. But they don't really have a flaw on this football team. Every position is, filled with a playmaker. They just have great ball players all over this team. Both sides of the ball, very dominant. Jalen Hurts still clearly in that MVP race, and they just traded for Robert Quinn at the deadline to bolster up that defensive line. They probably have the best offensive line in the NFL as well. They know exactly what they are. They run the ball very efficiently. Jalen Hurts doesn't make any stupid throws. He's a very efficient thrower of the football, and they just dominate teams. We've never, or at least recently, think of the teams that have started off 8-0. They haven't looked as dominant as Philly has. I remember the Cardinals started off, I think, 7-0 last year. They didn't look anywhere near as dominant as this. I remember my Steelers a couple years ago. We were 11-0, but we didn't look anything like this Eagles offense. The Eagles are just bludgeoning teams right now. So obviously they're the top team in the NFL right now. I don't think they're going to go undefeated, but I'm excited to see how long they can get this undefeated streak to last. But that's going to be it for the Week 9 Power Rankings. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the list. Did I get the order right? All that. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe. Thanks.